ladies and gentlemen. Again, here we are in beautiful downtown Dublin enjoying a great summer morning. And you too can get out and enjoy it. Plant your yard and enjoy it in a way that is easy for you. You want shade tree in some areas. You want to plan throughout the day. You want to be able to enjoy the birds and the bees. And we want to talk to you about bees indigenous to our area.
Right.
And a program that the County Extension Office has been sharing throughout our community. And Raymond wants to share it with you here today. And so tell us about that, Raymond.
Well, this is a program that we're doing statewide, and as you said, I've shared through a program we had at the library in cooperation with the Lawrence County Library. I had a program on pollinators, looking at planting plants to attract pollinators. Most people think of pollinators and we think of what? Honeybees.
Yeah.
Honeybees are that. Now, honeybees that we actually use are not native to our area. They were brought over by the early settlers, and there are different types of honeybees all around, from European to Russian to to African, all kinds of different bees. But without honeybees, you and I would not be able to eat, and also without our native bee population.
Would not be able to eat.
Because most of our vegetables and fruits have to be pollinated by an insect. For example, a tomato plant. Tomatoes have to have bees to move, or some type of pollinator, whether it be a bumblebee, whether it be a native solitary bee or something, to move that pollen from one bloom to the other. So just like your squash, for example. Squash have a male flower, They have a male flower and they have a female flower. So you have to have some type of pollinator, which could be a honeybee, it could be a bumblebee, it could be a solitary bee, any kind of insect that will move that pollen to get cross-pollinated for our squash, our watermelon, cantaloupe, cucumber. All of those have to have pollinators. And if you want to know whether or not the fruit is pollinated, is slice it open, and if you see seeds in it. Now, there are some seedless vegetables out there that won't have seeds. But for the most part, you can slice it open. And if you get a watermelon that's kind of got an odd shape to it with a fat end and a narrow top, you can slice it open, and what it is that plant did not get pollinated properly in the time that it needed to be pollinated. So there wasn't enough pollen transferred, or there wasn't enough insects to visit that bloom to pollinate it, and so it didn't fully pollinate with it. But what we've got now is a program that we call Trees for Bees. It is a program, and this is a poster that if I would put not upside down, but this is a poster that we have. This is at the Extension Office. We'll also be putting up displays around the county in the city to show people this along with this. But this just shows some of the trees that we can have, and they different times that they bloom, and they provide the pollinators with blooms and food. In addition to pollination, they get food from that they can use. So in one way that you as a homeowner can bring or attract pollinators to your garden is, just like you said, provide them with a source of nectar and a source of pollen, being flowers that bloom. So we do that through our vegetable garden. We do that through our annuals, perennials, and even our trees have blooms as well. And the bees, or the honeybees, native bees, can get that. And one way that you can attract them, just like we do, many people put up bird houses to attract birds and bird feeders. You can do the same thing with your native bees. And this is a project that we call, it's very simple, and we have a publication that's available at the Extension Office called Creating Pollinator Nesting Boxes to Help Native Bees. And this is a pollinator nesting box. Simply made. You just go to the wood dealer, somebody, a lumber yard or somewhere like that, big box store, and you buy an untreated. All the wood has to be untreated.
Untreated.
So, untreated is the key. Don't get anything that's treated. Get untreated. This is a 4x4 I bought at a local lumber yard. You just take and cut it up into about a foot long, and you can get a little 1x4 or 1x6. Someone said they actually took and got a little wider top to it, put it over here just to kind of keep the water off of it. And then you drill holes. You just take your drill and you'll drill down 1 inch, 2 inches deep, depending on what insects you're trying to attract. And you can put a lot more in here than what I have here. And then the other thing you can do, if you're creative, which I'm not a good painter, if you're creative and you like to do designs, great project with the kids, you can paint it. You can put it, but do not paint the front. Leave the front where the bees will come into. And what the bees will do, much like the One that everybody dislikes is the carpenter bee.
Right.
Goes into there and drills a hole. The bee will actually come in here and not have to drill the hole. They'll actually come in and actually lay eggs. They'll put some pollen in there, some food for the egg when it hatches out.
Yeah.
And they'll put a little, and they'll actually fill it up. And they'll actually, you can tell that they'll actually fill the hole all the way out, and they'll cap it off in the front. And you can put it at different depths. You can put different diameters of the hole to attract the different insects.
Neat.
But now you can use this, and in our publication we have how to do this. We also have how you can actually take real wood. Well, this is real wood, but you can actually go out into the woods and cut a natural. You can cut a slice off and create and get very creative as far as designs that you can hang up into. So you're not worried about if the wood rots or anything, because again, you can replace it. But the other thing is you're wanting the native bees to come in here and do this.
And again, why is that so important to us?
Because the honeybee population has dropped across the United States.
Okay.
There are a number of reasons that they're looking at. We're at UGA in our UGA bee program. Our researcher up there, Keith Delaplane, and his staff, they're looking at reasons why bees or the population has decreased. The other is that we have a lot of native bees and a lot of insects that are native that pollinate. And so by bringing them to the garden, by bringing them to your yard, you're providing another place for them. And you don't have to go out and buy honeybees and bring them in here and put them in your yard, because they are a little bit more labor intensive. This is more of a passive. Put it up, look at it, and then it's great for you. It's great for the kids, because the kids can see insects at work going in there and creating.
So you
holes.
should hang them where, on trees?
You can, if you're going to, you can hang them from a tree. You can actually set them and create, kind of just set them on something so they won't blow away. But yeah, you can actually take and put a wire or string on it and wrap it around a tree limb and have it hanging there with it. If you decide that you want to nail or put this on another piece of wood and put it on a tree, make sure you use aluminum nails. And the reason you want to use aluminum nails is that if you ever have to have somebody come in and cut that tree down for any reason, then they will hit that aluminum and it won't cause damage to the saw and won't create an accident for the person on the end of that chainsaw.
Who knew?
Yeah, don't use the steel or those galvanized type nails in the tree. You really shouldn't nail things into a tree, but if you do,
I agree with you.
Yeah, if you do, use the aluminum nails so that it protects the chainsaw and also protects the person.
Okay, so the publication's available.
Right, publications that available there. We will be doing more of these programs around the county this fall to get this out in there. You can come by the office. I have these on display, and I can show you the piece of wood that we use as well that you can come by and pick up also. And I do have a few of these that I can give you. I can give people. I probably have about 10 or 12. But if you want to come by, I'm not going to make them for you. But I'm going to give you the 4x4. I'm going to give you this and some nails.
I got
and
you.
then you can go home and make it yourself. Great project for the kids this summer. Grandkids or kids to do and to put that up.
So untreated wood, you just drill in a hole straight in. It's not hollow or anything in the middle.
Right, no. This is a solid piece of wood, 4x4.
4x4, untreated.
And you just drill it in at different depths and also the different diameters.
Yeah.
And it will tell you in the publication what size drill bit to use.
All right.
And you can actually just put as many as you want to in here. But like I said, you can also go out and find a block of wood or a piece of firewood or something like that.
A tree that's been cut before. You stand it up somewhere, make it. And a lot of people like to do that type of thing. It's very natural setting.
Very natural. And on the front of our publication, you actually see some that are actually made like little
They
houses.
look great.
Little houses that
that's
are made.
neat.
Yeah. And I've seen them even where, and actually these are actually using for the roof, they're actually using old car tags as a top that way. So,
that's neat.
Much like you see with birdhouses.
Yeah.
But great thing, we have a lot of native bees, the bumblebees that we have that you see around. We have a lot of solitary bees. We have a lot of bees that burrow in the ground.
Okay.
I'll get calls in the spring about people saying there's bees or there's some kind of thing flying around on the ground.
Yeah.
But those are native bees. One of those are called solitary bee. They're actually not aggressive. I've actually stood in the middle of them, walked through, squatted down, looked at them, but they basically just kind of float around. They get pollen, lay eggs, and then they're gone after a few weeks. But if they really annoy you like that, is just put a water sprinkler out there and they don't like wet areas, so they'll actually pack up and move.
Yeah.
They, so they like a dry, sunny area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good information from
Well,
Raymond
thank you.
Joyce. You want to get this information and help the bee pollination around here.
Right.
Okay.
Get the native bees. And again, again, make sure with any time you're spraying an insecticide around the yard and garden, make sure that you do it late in the afternoon. And also now on the labels of the pesticides, on the insecticides primarily, the companies are putting a little bee on it. And it tells you, if you see that little bee, it means a bee warning. It says that this product, this insecticide is dangerous to bees. And then on the label, it will tell you how to avoid damaging the bees, whether they be native or whether they be the honeybees as well. So the instructions on there, you'll look at a little bee, but it's a way we've realized that we've got to do more to encourage our pollinators to be around the state.
All right. So that's Extension agent at the University of Georgia giving us great advice for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
What if there was a paint that had the power to awaken something old, or painfully dated, or something you simply thought was lost forever, because it could form a strong bond regardless of age? If a paint could give any time-worn surface stunning new life, you have to wonder, is it still paint? Regal Select Exterior from Benjamin Moore, only available at independently owned paint and hardware stores.
Available at Four Seasons Paint and Floor Covering. Experience the perfect blend of style and comfort at Hunters Point Luxury Apartment Units. These 3-bedroom, 2-bath duplexes are beautifully designed with a look of hardwood flooring, modern fixtures, and plenty of natural light. The kitchen is outfitted with stainless steel appliances, beautiful countertops, and cabinetry. And these brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath duplexes are complete with garage. These duplexes are move-in ready. Hunters Point Luxury Apartment Units. Call Kay Grayson Company now at 353-1123 and visit Hunters Point Luxury Apartment Units, conveniently located on Claxton Dairy beside Springdale Park. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we're here with Raymond Joyce, and we're talking about a lot of different opportunities for us this time of year to get out and enjoy nature, to enjoy your backyard. A lot of people have almost a clear-cut backyard, and they need to plant, and we've talked to you a little bit about that, of how to put together that plan. But as we move along, many people want to plant a garden, and it's not too late to plant a garden by any means. It's just about the right time, I guess.
Well, you're right in that what we call we're finishing up, a lot of people are harvesting their spring garden that they put in, and now we're moving into the late summer, early fall time, or the late summer. And it is a good time because in Georgia, in Lawrence County, we can actually continue to replant. So if things, we hear, across the road from us here, we hear some people working in their garden, and they're basically taking out some of the old vegetables as they fade away, and they're putting in new. So you can have squash, you can have corn, you can have beans and peas, all, again, about every 2 weeks, just replant and add new vegetables to it, and you can have fresh vegetables all the way up to frost that way.
And so if you're thinking about getting into gardening now, you want to do just a little bit in the backyard, but organic is so important to people now. They want to grow their own, they want to do their own thing. How do you go about that and make sure you're getting organic material? And are plants organic that you buy? Is there a better plant to buy? How do I set up a little bitty garden?
Okay. Well, you can actually, in organic gardening, you can actually buy organic grown seeds.
Okay.
Seeds that have had no man-made well, I should not say that. The organic term, let me back up. The organic term sometimes can be a misnomer because there are pesticides that are labeled to be used in organic gardening. And some of them are naturally produced, some are man-made.
Okay.
Just because it says organic gardening does not mean that they haven't used any kind of pesticide. So things like nicotine, which is what you find in tobacco, is actually one that is available as an organic. Okay. You've got vinegar that sometimes is used for weed control, so things like that. Yeah. Again, you can't go out. I can't recommend you go to the grocery store and buy a bottle of vinegar and use, because that is not a labeled pesticide, but you can actually buy a labeled product that has that in there.
Okay.
Neem oil, different things like that that are natural products. But let's go back. Yes, you can go and you can order seeds online. You can also go to your local lawn and garden center and see if they have seeds that are grown organically. These are seeds that have been grown in a certified organic field or location, meaning that they haven't used any commercial fertilizer, any kind of man-made products,
Okay.
so to speak, organic, not organic. They have maybe used some, but again, they're labeled for organic use, the pesticide. So anyway, you can do seeds. You can actually get, have to get all those lawyer terms out there to make sure I get that. But the other thing is that you can actually buy plants from your garden centers and farm supply dealers that are organically grown. And you will see them labeled. You can get vegetable plants. So you can grow, you can get the seeds, you can plant them yourself, you can buy them already done and grow them organically that way. Vegetable garden, you need the full sun, at least 6 or more hours. The more sunlight you have, the better it is. Put the garden near where you got a water location, water faucet, so you can, a water source so that you can water it. And then as far as the actual organic way that you can grow it, we have publications available how to grow it organically, what pesticides you can and cannot use. And again, if you're not going to use a lot of pesticides in your garden, you're going to expect a lot of deformities. You're going to expect a lot of blemishes on there to a point. Now, I'm not going to say that all of them will.
Yeah, it's going to have some.
Right. It's not like you're going to go, if you kind of compare vegetables
Your
that are
tomato's going to have a spot
going to have
on
a spot
it if
or
it's
so on.
organic.
Right. It's organic.
Just
You're
cut
not
it
gonna,
off
right.
there and eat it.
Right. But you can, and another thing, you can go to your garden centers, farm supply dealers, you can actually buy organic type fertilizers, fish emulsion, other type products like that you can use and fertilize. Manures are very popular. People will use manure, animal manure. Composting is another way to increase so that you don't have as much weeds. But again, insects, you're in the South. You're in Lawrence County where we have gnats and we have a lot of insects. So you have a lot of insects. Speaking of that, a gnat just went in my ear. But you're going to have a lot of insects, and the way to do it, if you're growing squash, you're going to probably have squash bugs.
Yeah.
But you can go out and hand pick them off, you know, if you want to. If you see a hornworm on the tomato plant, you can pick it off and 2 bricks and it's gone. Or you can, you know, put them somewhere else or go fishing with them.
That's right.
The other is, but again, you can monitor it real closely. Or you can use organic-based, organic pesticides, and fertilizers are available, like I said, as well. But you can do it. They're just not going to probably look as pretty to some degree. And now some organic gardeners will argue with me. But the key thing about the blemishes and all, but they tend to do that. The unique thing about the organic plants and seeds that you buy, those plants are bred differently. A lot of the vegetable plants that you buy that are not organic are different cultivars, just like we talked about the different trees or different types of trees. They are, some of the vegetables that we grow were designed to be able to ship them. So you may buy a tomato that was bred, that it was bred for shipping, and we use it in the garden, and so it's not going to have that real good flavor sometimes. But the organic varieties may be, they don't have a lot of disease resistance to them. They don't have a lot of insect resistance. And so what they're doing, but the unique thing about it, they sure do taste good. They have a different flavor.
And that's what we're looking for, I believe, as a gardener. And you want to keep things organic. And there are other things, other information you can get from the county extension office simply by calling and going online to that UGA website. Is a wealth of information there. That's why they go to work every day and have since, what, the 1800s?
Well, we actually, well, I have to correct you on that date, but actually it was 1914, excuse me, I think 1914. We celebrated our 100 years old, the college of the UGA extension. We celebrated our, several years ago, our 100th anniversary. Family Consumer Science, which many people know as home economics back in the day. It actually, the college at UGA on campus just are currently celebrating their 100 years. But we have been around, and you know, our legislators, our farmers, our community leaders years ago, 100 plus years ago now, wanted a way to take the information from the university, the land-grant universities and colleges around the nation, and bring it to the people at the farm and at the home. So helping people, whether it be canning or whether it be growing a garden, that's our roots, and we continue to do that.
Yeah, and an excellent job. We'll be back with more in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, so stay with us.
The temperature is rising. Why not make a big splash with your family and friends this summer with a pool from Georgia Pools? A relaxing and luxurious feeling of a hot tub or sauna. Georgia Pools has a large selection of pool chemicals and accessories from name brands like Polaris, Aquabot, Pro Team Chemicals, and more. Already have a pool and need a new liner? Give Georgia Pools a call today at 478-275-3607 or stop in and visit their showroom at 1201 Hillcrest Parkway, Dublin, Georgia. Georgia Pools, Middle Georgia's largest above-ground pool dealer. Financing is available.
Hello, I'm Candace Ivy here at Community Bank of Dublin, Lawrence County. We have same-day loan approval. We have lenders on site that will take care of any of your financial needs. So please come by and see us today at Community Bank of Dublin, Lawrence County.
Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Raymond, Joyce here with a wealth of knowledge, and we're trying to take advantage of every ounce of it right now in the window of time that we have. Again, it's a beautiful day. We encourage you to get out and enjoy this beautiful weather. Some say it's a little bit hot, so get out early in the morning, find you some nice shade trees, or go out late in the evening if that's what it is. But get outside and enjoy it. And if you're out there and you want to grow plants, we try to share you about how to do it organically, how to grow your own garden. Just put out a few things. You'll be encouraged, and before you know it, Raymond, they'll probably be putting out a few more things once they reap the harvest.
That's right.
All right.
And you mentioned getting out.
Yeah.
And again, if you on these hotter days, or any day in the summer really, make sure you drink plenty of water. Whether it be cool or whether it be, some people say it shouldn't be cold, it should be warm room temperature or whatever, but anyway, drink water, drink fluids,
Stay away from soft drinks.
Stay away from soft drinks.
Don't drink too much beer out in the yard.
That's true.
Because all of that dehydrates you.
Right.
Caffeine, if you drink a lot of coffee and then you go outside without drinking water, you think you're going to work all day. That depletes your hydration so much.
Right.
It's not a hydrant, anything but water. Maybe a sports drink of some
A sports drink
some
at some
kind.
point, but
Made
good
of.
old water is the
old
great
water
way.
beats it all, doesn't it?
Sport drinks are a way to go.
Yeah.
But stay hydrated. Wear a hat.
Yep.
Wear
Cover
long
your
sleeves.
ears.
If you have, sensitivity to the sun, wear something light, light colored. Make something that's a lot of the products that we have now actually breathe and actually keep you cooler. Make sure you wear gloves. Wear sunscreen if you don't like being all wrapped up in clothing. Make sure that you wear sunscreen and apply it about every few hours because we sweat it off. And take frequent breaks. Just like we're sitting here on this bench on this beautiful tree, set you a place up, take you a break, sit and do it. But again, be safe out there. Don't get too hot. If you get too hot, go indoors. If you need medical help, call 911 or call your neighbor to come help you. But again, bottom line is stay hydrated, stay cool, and protect your skin from the sun.
All right, Raymond, I have friends who are into not only organic gardening, and it has to be organic, they have to do it just right, and I appreciate it, especially when they bring me some vegetables or cook some food for me, but also chicken, poultry. People have been into that for a while. They set them up a little coop out in the backyard, just like you're back at Grandma and Grandpa's house, Raymond.
That's right.
And they want to do it. How do you raise an organic chicken? Because, you see these huge birds, huge pieces of chicken that you see, and you say, I don't know about that. I think I'd rather go with organic and grow my own.
Okay.
How difficult is that? Because it's not easy taking care of, it's not a pet, but anything like that.
Right.
How do you do that? How do you set up and grow organic chicken?
Okay, all right. Well, first let me say from the poultry industry side, Georgia, we are number one in poultry. We ship a lot of poultry through the state, throughout the United States and around the world. And with that, a lot of the poultry companies now are raising chickens that have no antibiotics. And the only reason they were using antibiotics was for the health of the birds. You will see now that they're not using any growth hormones. The reason the chickens are actually growing so big is that they've just been bred that way. At UGA, we do a lot of breeding of chickens to get them to a larger size.
So there's no steroid or anything
No,
being
no,
used now at
no.
all?
Right,
That's a
right.
misconception.
That's a misconception there. With that misconception also with dairy. Dairy farmers cannot use hormones. Our dairy growers, our dairy producers here in the county and across the nation do not use hormones. Now, to say it's hormone free is kind of a misnomer because we have hormones in our body and
True.
animals have hormones in their body.
True.
But as far as man-made
Induced or anything.
hormones,
Okay.
dairy, poultry, and again, we're seeing the livestock industry as a whole move away from those growth hormones to more just growing them natural with it. But for chickens, we'll go back to the poultry.
Yeah.
They do grow them organically, and the reason they're called organic chickens is that they are fed organic feed that has been not used any kind of GMO. They're not, they're not from a GMO type corn or type soybean or type wheat, where they've been genetically modified, the plant. They're grown from just regular old field corn, nothing in it but just corn, and they're grown organically using organically approved pesticides on there. So they have to feed them that particular type of grain in their diet.
All right, I feel better about going and buying chicken or
Right.
beef or what have you now.
Right.
I
And
feel
you-
better about it. But
right.
what if I want to grow my own?
If you want to grow your own, it's great. What you can do is you can grow, get the baby chickens. Now you can always start all the way back from the eggs. You can actually get an incubator and you can actually raise your chickens from, watch them hatch.
Okay.
And do that. A lot of people are doing it that way.
Great.
You can actually buy them from other backyard chicken producers.
Yep.
Various types, just like we talked about various type plants, there's various type chickens that you can get.
Yeah, man.
Now, to grow the chickens, you just need a good place for them. You can build your own coop. There's a lot of plans. You can buy a prefab. Just like you buy a prefab house to live in, you can buy a prefab chicken coop.
Yep.
But, and you want to get those chickens, you got to provide them water, and you got to provide them feed. And you also have to have vitamins and minerals, and that a lot of time is in their feed. But if you want to grow them organically, the key is you have to feed them organic feed, grain that you buy at your local farm supply dealer, garden center, or from a poultry supply house that is actually organic. And that way you can keep them organically grown that way. But
And it's not that difficult.
not that difficult.
Time-consuming it
Time
is.
consuming. You do have to watch them on a hot summer day. You need to provide fans for them if you've got them in there. You need to provide an area that they can move around and walk out.
Yeah.
We even have people who actually have a movable chicken coop. They actually will put it in a pasture or in an area where they may have a field that is large, and they'll put them in one location. When the chickens eat all the grass and green stuff, they'll move them to the next section and let them
That's
all eat
neat.
that.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of people will do garden. And we can do rabbits the same way. Many people will do small animals like that as well. But as far as the organic, basically is getting a chick, that has not, either one you've raised from the way it's been, or either you can actually buy organic raised chickens, that way, or actually.
Is there any basis that some people say, no, I won't eat eggs from, homegrown chicken?
Homegrown chicken? No, basically they are actually, many people feel like and taste that they taste better to them than the ones that you grow. Now you can actually buy organically grown eggs and produced eggs in
But
the
there's
grocery
no
store.
risk.
Oh, well, no. Now what you can do if you really want to make sure there's nothing, now we're not going to get into a sex ed class today on that, but if you have all hens, you don't have to worry about something being in the egg. Now you may find that you crack open an egg and you may find a blood spot.
Sure.
Blood spot is caused by that hen being scared or something made her jump, and when that egg was forming, a little bit of blood got in it.
Yeah.
With that. The other is that you may find it with a double yolk, a double yolk.
Yeah.
A lot of people like those. Many homemakers like to use the brown eggs for baking cakes. They say it's actually tastes better, works better for the baking and all.
Yeah.
I really haven't been able to tell the difference
You've
between.
eaten a lot of cake.
I've eaten a lot of cakes over my years. But you can actually buy a candler.
Yeah.
Now, if you decide that you're going to raise chickens and sell the eggs, you do have to have a permit from the Georgia Department of Agriculture. Georgia Department of Agriculture provides a candling classes around the state, And what they do, we've had a couple here in Lawrence County over the years, but you learn how to look at the egg using a light to see if there's any blood spots. You can look and see any cracks and things like that for it. And that's why you can grade them. Our eggs are graded by A, double A, and different grades. And all of those eggs you see at the supermarket have gone through a candling process, and a human has looked at it, and to see if there's something there, they'll pull it out. And they may even have now, I'm not that familiar, they may have a machine that actually sees it and kicks it out, as a lot of the more had going to automation. But they are screened just like that, and you can do that at home as well.
Why are there different size eggs?
It's based on the chicken, the variety of, or the type of chicken that you're
of
growing, the breed, thank you, I was looking for that word. Breed of chicken that you have, and also some chickens will produce a double yolk, some will produce a smaller egg. It just depends on the type of breed of chicken.
Okay.
And it's not limited to white eggs and brown eggs. You can get green eggs, you can get all kinds of different colors, speckles. A lot of people like to get those because they can put them out at Easter to have the real chickens like that. One of the things on eggs, when you harvest the eggs, make sure that you wipe them off. Don't wash them yet, because the egg is actually, there's oxygen going in between there. We can't see it, but you know, if I go out there and I wash it with bleach and water, then if I open that egg up and eat it, I'm going to smell bleach inside, because that egg
draws in.
It draws in, and it draws out. What you need to do is, when you collect your eggs, wipe them off, get anything off of, just wipe them with a clean cloth, and then put them in the refrigerator. And then when you get ready to use them or get ready to sell them, you need to wash them. And there's a number of different type egg washes that you can make or buy, that you can wash it natural, so that you don't have any smells or odors going into the egg that way.
That's great advice.
And the way the egg determines the maturity of the egg, or how long that egg is, you know, if you look on the carton of your egg at the store, it will say sell by date. But that is where it has to be sold. But you can still eat those eggs several weeks after that expiration date. And the way it's done is, you look at the air sac on the big end of the egg. There's an egg sac, and as that egg gets older, that egg sac gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how you can tell, and that's also how they look at grades of eggs as well. They're graded based on the egg sac. But that egg sac gets bigger and bigger as it gets older.
Okay, I've always heard you just put it in a glass of water, and what is it? If it sinks, it's good. If it floats, throw it away.
And basically, that's just your age. That's that air sac. Is that air sac? It tells you that egg is old. You know, if you go out there into your chicken coop and there's an egg over there that you hadn't seen, you can go over there and look at it. You can look at it with your candling light, or you can drop it in there and kind of see how old it is with it. Now, if you have a mixed type of coop where you do have a rooster around, you do, and again, hens like to lay eggs and brood, meaning that, you know, if you want to have biddies or have, you know, young chicks, you'll need that male, but then you need to be careful that it's not, you know, that it's not a fertilized egg.
Great advice again.
But now we have the extension office. We have publications on building chicken coops, on taking care of the chickens, feeding them properly,
on becoming licensed,
and also we can refer you to the Department of Ag and their contact, where you can get your candling license so that you can legally sell them. But as far as farm versus what's produced and sold in the grocery store, it's a personal taste with that.
So a lot of people are taking advantage of it, growing your own. If you want to do that, it's a great thing to do with your children, great thing to do with yourself, just to enjoy life.
One other thing on poultry, there are even people who are actually raising the meat chickens. You know, there are laying type chickens, and then there's meat type chickens. They're actually raising their own meat chickens, and they're actually processing themselves as well. So, I mean, there are people who are doing that as well.
There's information
on that. And even here in Lawrence County, several weeks ago, I was visiting with a landowner, and they have a laying chicken coop, and then they have another coop that they raise their own meat chickens in, and they process them just like you would for their own consumption, like you would if you were hunting doves or something like that. And turkeys, people are doing turkeys as well that same way.
So, wealth of information from the Lawrence County Extension Office. Raymond, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks as always.